Hello, hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Magic Bringers Rising for the week of April 3rd through the 9th, which means that next week is my birthday. 45. Anyway, find out in this week's episode what you can do with this week's full moon energies to set yourself up for this powerhouse month of big eclipse April. So stay tuned for this episode. Welcome to Magic Bringers Rising Chats, the show by Super Secret Powers. I'm your host, Lindsay Baldessano, and let's get ready for a dose of energy healing, channeled guidance, and humor to keep your intuitive flow open and your roots grounded so you can weave the life of healing, spiritual purpose, and magic that you want. So happy full moon week, everybody. And this week we are really starting to come into eclipse season energies. I mean, I think we have been, especially since Pluto did its big shift, because I really kind of see these periods, like eclipse seasons, as a little bit more flexible than just, um, like 2 weeks before an eclipse. I see them as like big energy periods because Um, a lot of things tend to shift up like right before eclipses, like the month before eclipses. And it really all kind of thematically goes together. um, but this full moon is going to be a really nice one. It's going to be in Libra and it's happening on the 5th. And with that, we have uh, a conjunction with Chiron and Jupiter, and we also have Mercury doing its dance with Saturn. I'm sorry. Yes, I just said that backwards from how it was written, but same effect. So we have a lot of stuff happening come midweek. Um, so like Monday, Tuesday, I think is going to be a little slower, a little bit more reflective. We have Pluto and the Moon doing a thing today, a Monday. And then we have the Taurean Stellium starting on Tuesday. So, like, more reflective, more focused on what we believe and how we're going to get into practical action and, make the most of, the daily life before us. So, take those 2 slower days for what they're worth. Now that I don't really think like it's going to be huge energy, quite like all the Aries energy was hitting us when we were in Aries stellium. Um, I think this Taurus stellium is really going to help shift us into a much slower, more peaceful, more stable kind of mentality. But I do want to bring up the fact that, the only other like big thing happening this week is that Mercury is going into its pre-shadow retrograde phase and it's going to be in Venus. So it's like a heart and mind alignment. So we're like getting primed for this big reflective thing. And with all the Mercury action, we're also going to be able to use our words. But I think this reflection stuff, it's going to feel a lot more like synchronicity. It's going to feel a lot more like you're going to be able to see how, the world is reflecting back to you what you think, what you believe, the things you're working through right now. You're just going to run into the right people to, see yourself and your own story in a whole other way. Um, so that's good. Um, it's good. It is. Um, you know, Aries, Taurus, maybe that slower energy. Journaling is probably going to be a good thing or some kind of recording. Whether it's a video log or your actual just writing down journaling or some kind of scrapbooking to really help process a lot of the stuff that might be coming because it's going to be a little close to us, I think. a little close to our hearts, right? And sometimes we're not so terribly objective about that kind of stuff. But it really isn't meant to trigger you in a the bad in a bad way, in a totally reactive and defensive sort of way. I mean, this is really just the chance, the opportunity to see something from somebody else's perspective and, make some new choices around it. But what I am seeing in this, so we're coming up on eclipse, right? We're like 3 weeks out from eclipse. And that's like, it's not like the theme, but what tends to happen is there's a lot of, let's say, decluttering, if we want to put that a nice way. Because things will drop out, things will shift, things will not be quite as we expected, and, kind of have to go off our plates. But we're also, and of course, of course, and this happens a lot, uh, we have Mercury retrograde, which also tends to uh, be not quite what we expected, right? Those little surprises, those little things that, all of our appliance breaks, our electronics need, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Don't mind me, I'm looking at the car outside the window. But I think we can use that energy and, and that's like the whole premise of why I even like do these videos, is to really point out how the energy could be moving for us, even if we don't necessarily like it. But use this kind of decluttering upgrade energy to really focus in on clearing the way toward what you actually want, not just fixing something because it's broken. I mean, maybe it just doesn't need to be working in your life right now. I mean, cars are one thing, but because unless you live in a big city, cars are kind of a necessity. But again, you want to be in this, how is this upgrading my life kind of mentality. So, you fix what you need right now. You fix things up to make sure that that way is clear, that that thing is going to be able to help support you in what you're doing over this next, let's say, 6 months, because, eclipse season is a bigger time period than anyone. Well, not that anyone transit, but than any one energy period in the year. So we have 6 months to 6 months is always eclipse influence. Um, so really, like, just sink in this week and be like, all right, well, how is this going to help upgrade my life? So as we're talking about things that might upgrade your life, I do want to remind you or explain to you, if I'm just meeting you, that I am going to be launching my Grow with Your Intuition community. I'm just doing the founding member launch right now. So these are people I'm going to be working with, like, the closest, to really hone and make this into something that, is going to start a revolution in many intuitives' lives, and in, the intuition community in general, because like a whole other standard of coming into yourself and of really following that whole Dephelic Oracle maxiom of, know thyself. Because I really don't believe that, cookie cutter practices and, just practicing something because it's the latest trend is necessarily what's going to, open you up and help sustain you learning about your intuitive process and coming into your own accuracy, your trust, your confidence with yourself and your abilities. Um, I really think it has to come from deep within. And if you want to have that kind of deep level of work, I mean, this is going to be the membership for you, but it's also going to be like light and fun, because, like, we're not going to do like all these ESP tests or all these crazy little experiments that, like, nobody knows how it's supposed to work. um, because I find that to be busy work, and that's not the point. The point is not just to do busy work, but we're going to get together on full moons, on new moons, and we're going to have Q&As, so that you can really start to get a sense of how to live with these abilities, and how to work those intuitive processes on, on the daily, and live that full life and live that dream life that you've been trying to manifest, right? I mean, it's going to bring you into such deeper alignment. Just to be part of a group with, powerful women like that, but also because you're deepening within yourself and you're shaking loose all of these things energetically that might have been holding you back, or you didn't even realize that you still held on to this belief. But now that you um hear it a different way about how to use your abilities, what your abilities mean, what you could be capable of, I mean, it's a whole other, it's a game changer for your life, not just your intuitive development. But I'll be doing a free master class on the 17th. I'm still not like entirely sure about that date yet. But on the 17th of April, that's what's on the page right now. So you can go sign up for the master class called Intuitively Aligned, which is just a 5-day master class, and we're going to all talk really into what that deeper alignment means and how it feels and how to get there, and um how to be really sovereign in your intuitive abilities and your manifestations, but finding that sweet spot for yourself, and not just wishing and not just hoping it all comes together, or that you're working hard enough. Like, nobody wants to be in those spaces. So let's try and shift things up. And we're going to talk also about how you can intuitively, or how you can activate your intuition, and a whole lot more. So sign up for the masterclass if you want. You can get on the wait list for the Grow Your Intuition community. This is going to be a whole big thing for me. So I hope to see you there. And of course, you can look on the top or the bottom here, wherever the show notes are on your platform, for this episode, for those links. So, going into the light language healing transmissions for this week, I am actually really not sure exactly what wants to come forward, but I feel like there is a great heart expansion that does want to happen around this. Now, I know last week we talked about embodying your intuition. And this really, bringing that whole big energy down so that we're using our whole body as an instrument for our intuition. Um, and I have a feeling that some of that Taurus energy, which is, of course, connected to Venus, and Venus is doing some pretty fancy stuff uh, this week, next week, and generally this year, because she's going to do a special a special retrograde over the summer, where she goes retrograde in Leo, which is really like going to be an excellent time to revamp who we think we are, what we love about ourselves, how we want to appear in the world. It's like this huge alignment thing that's going to happen. But that's 2023 there for you in a number 7 year. Uh, for love it for what it is. It's it's not the year maybe you thought you were going to have, but it's the year we have, and it's going to carry us forward, the things we learned this year. So lots of heart stuff. Heart. So let's just focus in our energy. Take some nice big deep breaths. Say hello to Xander. Yes, the Xander puppy. Who also wants to help. Yes, hello. Hi. Don't you start barking. No. Just let yourself come to this very deep and very still place within you. And if any thoughts just come up, just kind of swipe left, swipe right, swipe left, and just clear them out of your system for these next couple minutes. And just kind of rest within your body. Allow the Taurus energy, this very earth energy, enter in and bring with it that stillness and that comfort, so that your body is a safe and relaxed place to be. As you can, just think about the world around you right now. Think about your place in it. And all the things you get to experience. All the things and experiences you have created by making the choices you have. By standing up for, by choosing the things that you have. Let that cause and that caring be as a badge upon your heart. For we are deepening into the doorway to the new world, the doorway to a whole new set of energies for these next, from now, but starting more precisely in 2 to 6 years. Let those choices be your old self, a self you can be proud of for having so deeply cared about something that you chose differently. And do not rush into any big decisions this eclipse, this month ahead of us. Things will slowly come into your radar, into your system. But for now, simply enjoy the fact that you can be at peace in your body in these moments. That you can find pride within yourself for having loved and cared and been part of something. Not just a friends community or a family unit, but also as somebody who is standing up for something of value in the new world. A standard, a revolution, a movement, a set of beliefs that you want to bring forward with you. Know and have faith and trust that you can do it again if you needed. That standing up, that space you might have given yourself for making a deeper aligned choice toward freedom and stability for yourself. And just rest. Just rest in this joy, in this confidence, in this knowing. And we are with you as always. We wish you well. We wish you joy. Thank you. Oh, and as always, thank you for participating and being part of this whole energy movement, for learning to move your energies and to have different experiences in your own internal self and, of course, in your energy spaces. And if you want more of this, of course, like, follow, share, connect with Super Secret Powers, and, of course, the Magic Bringers Rising Facebook group. And we will see you next week.